Okay, hi, Christy. Let's begin the Contemporary Business Leader interview. I'm Valerie. Who are you?
I am Christy Green Morris.
Where do you work?
Stevens Line Weber Construction.
What's your role?
I am the Chief of Staff.
And how long have you been in your current role?
I have been with Stevens Line Weber since September of 2015.
Perfect. What industry is representative of the organization?
General contracting.
Perfect. So first question, consider your greatest career achievement in this role. And can you provide details including, people, services involved, and any strategies or processes that you use that you believe led to the effective organizational outcome of this achievement?
Okay, so definitely I feel like my greatest accomplishment is being in this role in general. When I came here in 2015, I had just worked for a small electrical contracting company, and so I felt like I was stepping into some big, huge shoes to fill, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to adjust to that. And I think the biggest thing for me was just taking the role on myself and putting my own spin on it. And then just moving up through the years. The biggest thing I've accomplished within this role is building the team underneath me. Mm-hmm. When I started at SLC, it was me and two other people. We had a receptionist and one single person who did all subcontract contracts. I know that's a lot, subcontractor contracts. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so now we have a team of 7 project coordinators who work for individual project managers, and then I have an actual admin assistant and a receptionist. So building this team and where we are today, I would say, is my greatest accomplishment here. Okay. And I did that by planning for the growth, right? Deciding what do we need these roles to look like and what is the purpose of them, developing those roles and filling them. And then because I am an amazing organizer.
Yes, you are.
Shoot my little horn there. I love to make to-do lists and mark things off the to-do list, but I was able to organize the job descriptions and just meet the needs of the project managers by having those people in those roles.
Perfect. Okay. Question 3, consider one significant challenge that you previously faced in this role. How did you handle it? What was the outcome? And could you please provide details, including the period of time, person, services, competition, market conditions that might have been involved in the challenge?
Okay, so the most recent thing that I can think of, just because this sticks in my mind, was a negative review for me. Oh, okay. Right? And the negative review was that I came off cold and condescending because I was short with people and didn't spend time acknowledging them or answering their questions. The background to that is that we lost 3 people in the matter of 3 weeks within my department. So 3 project coordinators who collectively worked for 5 project managers. And instead of going to my team and spreading out those project managers and having people step up and help until we could fill those gaps, I decided that I should take that on myself. And so where I was coming across cold and condescending, I was actually completely overwhelmed with the workload that I had in front of me. And so, and I think that was hard for me to hear and was really harsh for me to hear, and it really upset me. I would honestly say this happened in March, and I am just recently able to talk about it without crying because it upset me that bad. But I was able to have conversations with other people on our leadership staff who were able to say, that's okay. What are you going to do about it in the future, and how are you going to change that? And so it really made me look at myself and make me realize that I have built this wonderful team that I feel like is my greatest accomplishment, and why didn't I use them? So I have now decided that I am never going to take that on again myself, and that I am going to look for my team to fill those gaps as needed. Doesn't mean I can't help out, but not take it on personally myself. I don't really feel like there were market conditions that led to that decision for me. It was more just a personal and knowing the project managers that these changes affected and me wanting to step in and help them.
Right.
Because we've definitely filled those, not refilling those positions. I think it was just more personal on me.
Okay, yeah, I totally understand that. Do you think that there are any specific market conditions that affected maybe hiring people?
Definitely it's hard to find good people in the market. So when I run ads, you don't really have a lot of people who have done this job before. Like you get a lot of people who haven't done this job before, which just makes your training harder,
right?
Because you're really starting at ground zero, having to explain the job to them. So maybe so, like in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I don't want to have to try to go through the hiring process because it wasn't just one,
right.
It was 3. And so maybe just prolonging that a little while.
Okay, perfect. Well, that is a great answer. Okay, Christy, question 4. What is the mission, vision, and strategy of Stevens Line Weber Construction, and how were they accomplished? How are they accomplished?
Okay. So the vision of Stevens Line Weber is we've worked really hard over the last couple of years to develop this as a leadership team, but it's simply promises made, promises kept. And how do we accomplish that? We are upfront and honest with our clients as far as like if this job is going to take a certain amount of time. We're kind of upfront with schedule and long lead times for material. Not only that, our superintendents in the field, they live out promises made, promises kept every day because they're the front person of Stevens Line Weber Construction, and they're out there bringing all the subs together to make the construction happen. Internally, we have RISE, which is more our core value for our employees. And so what RISE stands for is, the R is for relationships matter. And so not only the relationships between our employees as a team, but also with our clients, architects, and subcontractors. Integrity rules is the I, and I think the biggest thing for that is just that we are honest and respectful in what we're doing, again, with those same people, clients, architects, subcontractors. The S is selflessness wins, and what that basically means is when we care for our employees and colleagues and communities, then we're building more than just the projects.
Yes.
We are building those relationships. And E is just excellence above all. And when we hold our employees to those core values and standards, which we do annually as part of their reviews, we feel like we have built the team that will demonstrate promises made, promises kept in the community.
That is a great answer. And I can attest that is how our mission and vision is accomplished. How essential is an entrepreneurial mindset in achieving the mission, vision, and strategy of the organization? Resilience, creativity, problem solving, embracing failure. How essential are those habits and skills?
I mean, I feel like they are essential to what we're doing, because you want to have the creativity and the freedom really to take on these people with your own personality and impact them and deal with them each and every day. You also want to, again, that's just part of the building relationships, right? But the entrepreneurial part would go back to me and my personal difficult time, right? Would be that I accepted that I failed during that time.
Right.
While I felt like I wasn't failing and that I was doing the best thing for SLC, I really was, because of how I was then interacting with other people.
Right.
And so even though that was hard for me to hear and hard for me to deal with, like, I have to accept that and come up with a plan to move forward.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes you a really great chief of staff, is that you're able to take that constructive criticism and grow from it, and you'd be hard up if you didn't listen to what your team had to say, and there wouldn't never be any growth. So I appreciate you, and I love working with you.
I love working with you too.
Okay, so last question. Apart from servant leadership and the entrepreneurial mindset, please identify 2 significant lessons and or attributes that you believe are essential for success. Describe anything you wish you would have specifically avoided that may have derailed or delayed your success. So 2 attributes that you feel are essential, and is there anything that you wish you would have avoided?
Attributes, are those these?
Just, resilience, accepting failure.
Okay.
Anything.
I definitely think accepting failure, because it doesn't just have to be in the example that I did, but what I try to tell everybody is nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes day in and day out. However, we hope that they're small. We hope that we learn from them, and that's really what you want. So I really feel like that is huge.
Right.
I mean, the other thing I think is huge is just, and it goes back to this page, right, is just being organized and laying out your plan to achieve your goals.
Right.
I feel like that is huge. You might get derailed from your plan, but when you do, like, how can I get back to that plan? Organize your thoughts and all of that stuff again to get back to your plan.
Right.
To do that. So those are the 2. What was the last part of the question?
Anything that you wish you would have specifically avoided that may have derailed or delayed your success?
For me, personally, I think, and this is hard to say, but I think like developing friendships with those that you are managing.
Right.
It is fine. We can be friends, but you have to draw that line that when we're in the office, I am your boss, and I have to do and say things that you might necessarily not want to hear or like to hear, but we have to address those and discuss them for the betterment of the business.
Yeah.
And I think that honestly like held me back for a few years, had to learn the hard way in that area as well.
Right.
But overcame that, and am sitting in a much better place now that I feel about that. So that is huge, is just knowing where to draw your lines with relationships.
Right.
And I mean, I think like that's probably the biggest. And the other one is just coming in and doing your job and focusing on the task at hand. And I think that when you do that, then people see how hard you're working and what you're accomplishing. And then for me, the greater trust and more responsibility have come along with that.
That's great. I love that. I love to hear that. And in this class, I've been learning about different types of power that employees in any organization possess. And any one person can possess multiple types of power, but the ones that stood out to me were legitimate power, which is you definitely possess, because you have that legitimate power to implement a certain policy or procedure. And another one is referent power, which has to do with the relationships. When you are well-liked and respected, and you have integrity, and you have good relationships with other people in the company, you have a certain amount of power to over that person, a power in a meeting to like bring people together. And so it is, I can totally understand what you mean when you say draw the line, because I'm close with my subordinates too. Yes. But it's also a thing, to have those relationships. It's a fine line, but it is a really good thing to have those kind of relationships with your employees. Well, that is going to conclude our interview. Thank you so much.